Hello everyone, here is another example to build group frequency distribution tables when you have your data is continuous, not discrete. So if the data continuous, that means we have decimal points here. We have to pick a different class width that is matching the type of data that we have. So since this type of data has decimals, we have to round our class such that we do have one decimal place for our class width. So let's see how that is done. So first I'm going to find the minimum, just like usual. I'll find the maximum. And then find the range, which is maximum minus minimum. The next step is to find the nice class width. The class width is basically the range divided by the number of classes. We have 10 classes in our question, so 24.4 divided by 10 will give me 2.44. Now, the class width, I can round this class width to 3. But if I do that, then I am missing some points when it comes to the decimals that I have here. So I need to make the class width match with the type of data that I have. The type of data I have has one decimal place here. Most of it has one decimal. So that's why I am going to round this number up to 2.5. We always round up. That is not questionable. The question is, how do we round it up? Do we round it to the nearest 10, or to the nearest whole number, or to the nearest 100, or to the nearest 1,000, and etc.? We are going to round it up to match the type of data that we have. So in this case, we have one decimal place after the decimal. That means we're going to need a class width that matches that with one decimal place after the decimal point. So I'm just going to round this up to 2.5. So with that being said, now we're going to figure out the lower class limit of the table. So to choose the lower class limit of the first class, we need a number that is either the minimum or a number that is less than the minimum. The only condition is it has to be a multiple of the class width. So I'm going to test the first number, which is 25.2. I'm going to say 25.2 divided by the class width. The answer has a decimal, so that is not going to work. I need a number that gives me a whole number. That means it is a multiple of the class width. So I'm going to slash that number a little bit down. I'm going to take a smaller number. I'm going to choose 25. 25 divided by 2.5 will give me 10. So I know that 25 is going to work. So this is the first step. The second step, we need to find all of the lower class limits. So I'm going to say this is 25 plus 2.5 and etc. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to drag it down. Now that I have all of the lower class limits, I can go to the upper class limit and I can find the upper class limit. We said the upper class limit is equal to the lower class limit of the second class minus 1 unit. Again, 1 unit here has to match the numbers. Because the numbers have one decimal place, then the unit is going to be 0.1. So if my numbers are whole numbers, I'm going to subtract 1. If I have 2 digits or 1 digit or 3 digits, I'm still going to subtract 1. If I have 4 digits, I'm going to subtract 10. 5 digits, subtract 100. So you're going to play with the numbers until you get a nice unit that you're going to subtract. You will know if you're doing it right. So for now, I'm going to use 0.1 to match my data, and then I'm going to double click. Notice how my biggest number here, the maximum, those are the classes 1, 2, 3. And let's see. So at number 10, I have, this is the last number that I have. Notice how the last number is slightly bigger than the maximum. This is exactly what I need. If this number was a little bit smaller than the maximum, that means it didn't capture the entire thing. I'm going to increase my unit to maybe 1 in this case. But 0.1 seems to be working, so I'm going to stick to that. Okay, now that we found all of the classes, of course, you're going to type your classes in a different way. You're going to type them in an interval. So you're going to say 25 and then comma 27.4 and then close. that. And you're going to keep going with that. I am going to find the frequencies here. I'm going to use the data analysis tool. So data analysis, select the data analysis and choose histogram and click OK. Then my input range is going to be my data. My bin range is going to be the upper class limit. And then the output range, I want it to be here in this sheet. And then I want the chart output and then click OK. So here are the frequencies, and here is a nice histogram. What I care about is the frequencies, so I'm just going to cut the frequencies and paste them right here. So those are the frequencies of my classes, and this is how you're going to build a group frequency distribution table for this type of numbers.